Hello, Greg from Balloon Market here, and welcome to BMTV. This week we are joined once again by the amazing Chris Horne from Amscan, and he is going to show us something that I know has been very popular over the last year or so, really. And I know there's different ways of doing it, but Chris is going to show us how he does it. So Chris, hello, and over to you.
Hi, Greg. Thank you. Yeah, something that's incredibly popular. A huge explosion of these over the course of last year, but still lots of unsurety sometimes from people on the forums as to how to put them together. So yeah. I thought I would demonstrate my method of putting together a thing that we sometimes refer to as a stacker. Okay. Is also known as a marquee. Yeah. Those basically horizontal things with an arrangement on the top. Yeah. Massively popular, particularly in the days of increased helium prices and such. They are an ideal design for delivery. Mm-hmm. Fill a lot of space quite easily. Lots of potential to add more value. Yeah. So you can start off with a basic idea and increase it depending on your client's budget. So it's a fabulous thing, really. Yeah. Yeah. Generally, a couple of different styles. You can have an organic style or a more classic style. Excuse me. I'm going to go more for the classic style this time. Okay. But if you do it that way, there is the potential to add small clusters and little details to organify it, whereas you can't go back the other way. Yeah. So I'm going to start with the classic one and go from there. Okay. Nice generic birthday one I'll put together, but again, just bear in mind that it doesn't take much to tweak it, to change a couple of balloons here and there, change the colours so that it will fit with any occasion that you care to mention. So I've chosen colours based on this balloon, which is a really nice one. It's kind of pink, it's kind of rose gold, it's kind of blush, it's kind of all sorts. So it's very soft colours, and I'm going to base all of the colours on that. So the colours that I've chosen are satin pink, which is this, metallic rose gold. There is still a use for metallic rose gold. We don't have to use reflex rose gold all the time, but those are the three colours. So we have a satin pink, metallic rose gold, and a reflex rose gold, all of which feature in this balloon. Oh, I see, so they blend together really nicely. So to start with, let's create the base. I'm going to use what the technique is an alternate size square pack garland. So you basically make clusters of two different sizes and alternate them to end up with a square rectangular section of garland. Tie them together with an uninflated modelling balloon. There are some people that will tell you to squeeze all of the air out of it and tie the end before you start. Yeah. And there are some people that just use it straight out of the packet. I am generally one of the latter. Okay. But quite honestly, it doesn't really matter, I don't think. Whatever suits you best. But I have tied that one just as an illustration that there are alternatives here.
I do find, though, Chris, when I do that, I do always end up with a little bubble in there somewhere. So if I don't take the air out, not that I do it very often, but that's probably my inexperience, but I find I form a little bubble somewhere that I don't want it to be. I guess that's why people do that.
Yes. I get why they do it, but yeah, again, sometimes you do get the bubble. If you're not going to do it, the key thing is to make sure that you start from the closed end of the balloon, tie that around and work from there, because then any air that is trapped in this will escape as you go, and you shouldn't end up with a bubble. But I'm going to tie that around the middle of the larger cluster, nice and tightly. And then add a smaller one and just put a bit of tension on the balloon, not too much. If you pull it too hard, you'll end up squashing the whole thing together and it will distort. But you do need a little bit of tension so that they do stay where you want them to. And then I'm going to add all the clusters one at a time. Now you'll note that I've kept the rose gold on one side and the pink on the other,
Yep.
rather than alternately, because I fancied the sort of striped effect rather than the spiral effect.
Okay.
I'm going to start with 4 of the big clusters, because, again, in true Chris Horne style, I'm not entirely sure how big I want this to be at this point. I'm kind of not exactly making it up as I go along, but sort of. So I'm going to start with 4 large clusters. I have a 5th one inflated down there, should I need it.
Yeah.
And we'll find out if I need it or not when we start to add the toppers. In fact, I've already decided that I do need it, so I'm going to put it on now.
All right.
Just looking at it, I've realised, no, that's not big enough. It needs to be a bit bigger.
I've seen some huge ones in the States.
Sorry, go on.
I've seen some huge ones in the States, which I believe is where this kind of thing came from. And it's, absolutely amazing what people are doing. I mean, really huge. Don't know how they got them in a van, if in fact they did get them in a van, size things.
Well, have you seen their vans?
Yeah, that's a good point, actually, yeah.
Yeah. But no, you're right. They're massive.
Yeah.
Very impressive, though. But yeah, so there's your base. And that will sit on the ground and everything will be added to it. You do need to get your sizing quite accurate for it to sit properly.
Okay.
So these are inflated to 8 inches and these to 4.
Okay.
If these are too small, then these will slip out of line because they'll have a tendency to move. If they're too big, you'll have gaps.
Yeah.
So you need to get your sizing right so that it all fits together properly and looks good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I just sort of sit that down there for a moment, because then I'm going to put 2 foil numbers on the top, which is the traditional way of doing it. But we've enjoyed doing some of these for catalogue photo shoots and social media and stuff, where we've used super shapes of dinosaurs or whatever it happens to be in place of the numbers. So you can characterize them very well. You don't have to use numbers. So if you keep an eye on our socials, you'll see a few coming up that have been done in different ways. But I'm going to use the numbers now because that's what do seem to be most popular. Rose gold again, and I've chosen the number 30 on this occasion. Just don't know. Yeah, seems like a nice age.
Because that's what you're going to be next time, Chris. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. That's what age you're going to be next time.
Next time round.
Talking of socials, where can people see your work? Where can people see you talk about the things? Is it? Oh, there it is, Chris.
All it is here. So
you've got
these are all our
Instagram,
tags.
Twitter,
so Instagram,
Facebook.
Twitter, Facebook,
LinkedIn as well.
LinkedIn. Yeah, it's all on there, and obviously, also you can get to all of those through the main website, which is amscan.co.uk, and that's where you'll find the resources pages and all of the double stuffing and the charts and the tables and loads of stuff.
Yeah.
That we've been putting on there over the last few months, while we haven't been allowed out. We've been populating the website with interesting things. So yeah. Right, so I'm going to inflate these with air. It's all done with air. Excuse me, noise. I could have pre-inflated these, but quite honestly, there's so much stuff involved with all of this that I ran out of space.
Oh, right, okay.
So that's why I'm subjecting you to the riveting sight of me inflating a couple of foil balloons. But I do promise that nearly everything else has been pre-inflated. Right, so there we got the numbers. Mm-hmm. And now we need to stick them together. we want to have them attached together in an artistic fashion, so that they will sit nicely on top of the base.
Yeah.
I'm not one for putting them flat on like that. I kind of quite like to have a bit of a skew on them, so they're a little bit funky.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just offset them slightly. Now I would usually use, well, I would almost always use balloon bond to stick them together. I do appreciate, however, that there are issues sometimes with sticking foils together with adhesives. So I'm just going to, I mean, it's a very well-known technique, but I'm going to demonstrate it anyway, because it's an ideal opportunity to do so. But if you have issues with your foil balloons and they don't stick properly, and that's because of the coating that will be on the balloon to get the colour and to make it stay put. Acetone, which is basically nail varnish remover, but you can buy it in bulk, is the answer. You can also use rubbing alcohol, which is surgical spirit. That also works. And a little bit of that on a cloth or a bit of cotton wool. And if you take note of where you want the balloons to touch, you literally just rub it on there, and it will take the balloon. You probably can't see this on camera because there's not much of a difference. But where I've been rubbing it, there's now the colour has gone. It's gone back to silver. So it takes the coating off and removes the ink from the balloon, which will then enable whatever it is that you like to stick your balloons together with to stick. But you only want to do it where the balloons are going to touch each other, obviously, because otherwise you're going to end up with an ugly silver patch, which is not ideal. But it only takes a few seconds, and it will guarantee that you get a good stick. So,
Chris, you say it's a well-known technique. That's the first time I've come across that, so thank you for that.
Oh, okay. So no, it's really simple, but it works a treat. So that takes all your coating off, and will now mean that the balloon bond or whatever it is that you're using to stick them will stick. Tip number 2, though, in respect of sticking balloons together, is if it's cold like it is today, freezing in here, you need to warm up your adhesive a little bit. Particularly with things like balloon bond. So just tear off the bit that you want and just put it between your hands for a couple of seconds, and then you should find that it will peel much more easily than it can sometimes do. Put that on the bit that you've cleaned of the inks. Didn't warm that piece up so it won't stick it. See? Don't do as I do as I say. That's grandma speaking, that is.
Balloon bond is one of those things, though, isn't it, that people say, oh, it's very expensive, but for what it does and how much you use, it's definitve worth it. I know a lot of people swear by it.
I mean, yes, it looks like it's expensive when you see the price for the whole roll, but I've used about 2 inches on there. And that it is so good, it sticks so well that I will have absolutely no fear or worry that this is going to come apart. Once it's stuck, it is really, really, really strong, and I'm happy with that. Obviously, we're going to anchor it down anyway onto the base, but balloon bond works brilliantly in that respect. So now I want to add a little bit of detail before I attach it to that. So I'm going to, I've got little bags of pre-prepared stuff here. I'm going to put some balloons around the join. So I have some satin pink 260s almost fully inflated, and those will wrap around the middle here. So where the 2 balloons touch, I'm going to tie them together with the 260s. So I've inflated them enough so that there's a bit of overlap,
Yeah.
which means I can put a bit of tension on there and just twist them like so, and then tie it off there. Remove what I don't want, and then put a second one around. Go through there. A little bit of a twist, get it the right length. But I don't want it too tight, but I need it to be snug.
Yeah.
So that that's better. So that they don't move around. Okay, like that. And then to get a bit more detail on there, I'm going to use a chain of bubbles, which I have pre-done, but I'm going to do again because I very recently learned a new technique which I think is fantastic for these, and I will pass it on. I'm not actually sure whether this is going to be long enough, so I'm going to need another chain anyway. Okay. When you're doing these, never let go of the end. It just comes undone.
Yeah.
So make your chain and then twist the two ends together if you're not ready to use it yet.
Yeah.
And it will stay put. But okay.
How can you come across a new technique, Chris? You've been in the industry forever. You know everything.
No, I don't. There's always new techniques. There's so many of us out there that are constantly experimenting. Oh, hang on. I need to constantly experiment in finding new ways of doing things, quicker ways of doing things, more efficient ways of doing things, etc. And in this wonderful age of communication, we're all sharing around, and so it's fantastic. You never, ever, ever stop learning.
Absolutely.
So there's two things with this. If you want to complete your chain with the full length of the balloon, so you don't want to run out of air or run out of space to twist, you want it to fit perfectly, find the middle of the balloon like that and inflate it to that point. So basically half inflate your balloon. Yeah. But it's the uninflated half, so you need to measure it from an uninflated balloon. So we're going to inflate to that point there. Doesn't matter if it twists around. There we go. So there's half my balloon inflated. Yeah. A little bit of air out of it. So it's a bit soft. Tie it off. Right. So first thing is to always twist in the same direction. We know this already. So hold it there and twist away from, that's how I prefer to do it, twist away. Never let go of the end. So get yourself 2 or 3 bubbles to start with, and then you can tuck them between your fingers so that doesn't now escape. 2 or 3 twists for each bubble is important. Now, up until this point, I've always done it like this: twist, 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 twist. Start to get repetitive strain injury in my wrists. It's really very painful if you've got more.
Sorry, I wouldn't laugh. I thought you were joking. All right.
No, I'm not. It's I've got arthritis and things, which is, as I age, is getting worse, and this kind of thing does not help. Yeah. This is why I'm so excited about this one. Little twist to make sure that your bubble's the right size.
Very good. Yeah.
Why did I not think of this?
I have no idea.
This is just so cool. It is. I mean, it halves the time it takes, and there's absolutely no stress or strain on my wrists whatsoever.
Such a good idea.
I know. Very, very, very cool. The more of this you do, the less you have to look, because I'm actually gauging the size of the bubbles by the way they feel. Yeah. The tension in them. So I'm not actually looking at them that much. I'm just literally, it feels the right size.
And it just looks impressive as well, Chris, when you're doing that. It looks like you're a real professional. You really know what you're doing. And if you're doing that in front of clients, it just looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And the halfway down the balloon, thing, hang on, see, I'll let go. Oh no.
Well, that's a classic Chris Horne, let's let it go wrong so we can show everybody how to make it right.
And then you can see it happens. No, the only way of making this right is start again.
Well, exactly, and sometimes that's going to be the case.
It is. Have I got another balloon? That's the question. Not quite sure whether I've got another one the same. It doesn't matter. We'll be all right because I don't need much. So I'm going to actually use this one again because I lost the very end of it and I don't know quite why. But there you go. Right, let's just... I need literally about 10 bubbles. You saw what I was doing. You saw how it works. Just don't wear a prickly shirt. I'm not sure that's the case. I don't think it is a prickly shirt. I don't know what happened there. Anyway, so just... I was about to proudly show you that I'd got to exactly the end of the balloon.
Yeah.
Perfectly. But we'll have to save that for another time now. Okay.
But as we've said many times, that's the reality of working with balloons.
Yes, exactly. It happens all the time. Things will happen. Don't let it stress you out. You know, there's no point in getting wound up about it because you'd spend your entire life wound up like a spring.
Yep.
So I'm going to join the two ends of this together. Try very hard not to let go of either end. I'm going to twist the two bubbles together rather than tie the ends at this point, because that will give it, they won't untwist then. I can tie the ends later.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to just pull that around and through. Ooh. Come on. Sit in there. That's it. Now, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll just put it on and adjust it later. Tie off the ends there. Get rid of what we don't need. There we go. So what we've now got is two normal 260s tied round and a string of bubbles which will sit between them there. Like that.
Perfect.
And then we'll get rid of this, just double checking which way I twisted it so I didn't untwist it and lose the lot. I can cope with one thing happening. I don't know as I could cope with two.
You know the great thing about video, Chris? You can start again.
Yeah. Edit. Cut that out. Okay, there we go. So that's struggling. Told you about my arthritis. This is actually now one of the downsides of it. It just can be sometimes a little bit of a struggle when you're working with things that are quite tight. There we go, we got it. I'm going to shuffle these around slightly, and we've now got the detail that I wanted to achieve on there. So I'll hold it up and see what's going on. Okay, so it's just a little bit of texture.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we can sit this onto the base, which I'll get back up onto the table. I think I'm going to have, I don't know, let's have a little look. Do I want the pink side up? Or do I want the rose gold side up? See, choices.
I don't know. I don't know
either.
It's a tough question. Go with that.
Yeah, I think I quite like that, because then we've got a contrast between the satin pink and the rose gold foil, which are actually quite similar. So what we need now is an uninflated 260. I tend to use clear ones a lot when I'm using them for anchoring, because they don't show, and it means you don't have to constantly try and have 260s in exactly the same colours as everything else. You can just use the clear ones. And I'm tying that firmly around the tab on the balloon, because basically I sort of lined it up to see where it sat nice at the angle that I liked it.
Yeah.
And that sits there quite well. Right, having got that, I'm going to tie the two ends together.
So if you didn't want to do it, if you didn't want to do it at a jaunty angle, if you wanted it to be straight across, you could just use the neck of the balloon. You
could indeed, yeah. Yeah, but the jaunty angle it's a good term. I like that. So I've got my loop on the end here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to hook that around one of the balloons. It's quite difficult working backwards, because I'd normally do it this side, but I want you to see what's going on.
Yeah.
Just hook that around the balloon, and that will give enough tension to hold it in place.
Yeah.
We're going to add more underneath it. It's not going to go away. So just that little bit of tension there is enough. Right, so we've got a gap here.
Mm-hmm.
That gap will be filled with a standard balloon. Air filled. Another 260 around the tail of this, because we'll use the 260 to anchor it down in the same way that we just did with the numbers. Tie the ends together to make the loop. Okay.
Yep.
And that will go in here somewhere. So I want it to go underneath the, yes, in there. That'll sit quite well in that space, like so.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hook the standard round the balloon here to hold it in place, and then a bit more balloon bond. I need to warm.
I think you definitely made the right decision with the 5 clusters rather than 4.
Yes. When it was in my head, I wasn't sure. As soon as I saw the 4 cluster, that no, need 5. Yes, it would look very unbalanced if this was missing. Peel off the balloon bond, stick that on there like that. And now it's stable.
Yeah.
So by adding the extra attachment point, we've stabilised it. So I'm just going to tidy up the tails, a little bit of balloon bond on the back of the tail, stick it to the back of the balloon, just to get it out of the way. Same for this one down here. And essentially then, we have the basics of a marquee.
Yeah.
So we have the structure and the basic design, and everything that we need. Now we just need to dress it up a bit.
Okay.
So we can add in extra details. So there's a couple more sort of little extra bits and bobs that I can show you there. So one thing I do like to do is to remove all the unwanted tabs.
Yeah.
It may be a small detail, but I think it's quite important. You've just got to be really careful that you don't cut into the balloon. There is the voice of experience there. Because I cut it a bit too close, and it's gone.
Yeah.
Right, I want to add a little flower up the top. So here's one I made earlier. I've got 5 reflex rose gold and a satin pink. And I'm going to use the bit of stretchy tape, piece of 260, and where's my cloth? Here it is. Because I'm going to stick it on the face of the balloon, I need to use another little bit of acetone. Where shall I put it? There. So I'm going to just take the ink off there, silver patch, bit of stretchy tape, scrap of 260, stick it on the clear patch. Gives me a nice strong attachment point that I can then use to hold that in place. So first little detail, a little flower that goes on there like that.
Yeah.
Then the next one I'm going to add is equally simple. This time though, I'm just making double loops. So 260, not fully inflated, but all inflated to the same length. Tie the ends together, find the middle, twist, push the ends together, wrap it round into a figure of 8.
Yeah.
Twist them all together.
Get them together, yeah.
So there's 6 there. You can add as many as you like.
Yeah.
But I think probably 6 is sufficient. And then I'm going to put a small one into the middle of it.
So as we've said many times when you do stuff like this, Chris, this is very low cost, high value, isn't it, to the customer?
Extremely. It's the materials are very low cost, but the finished effect is very high value. Exactly the words you use. It's just, it makes a big difference. It's just what you do with the product, isn't it? That that has the effect there. Now then, where am I going to stick this one? I think probably about there.
Okay.
It would look good. So I'm going to use a bit of, actually, no, I'm not. Because I'm sticking it latex to latex, and I need a little bit of tension, I'm going to use the 260 loop method again. Because that will, sometimes when you put 2 latex balloons together and you stick them together with something like balloon bond or an adhesive of some kind, you put a lot of tension between the 2 latex balloons, and it can occasionally cause one of them to rip.
Oh, I see. Okay.
If they're trying to separate, which they will do naturally, it will have a tendency sometimes to pull them apart. So this time I'm going to use that method there and just hook it on with the 260, because then there is no stress on either of the 2 elements of the design. So that's that. And then one more.
There's more.
One more technique here. There's more. I will stop eventually. Is it lunchtime yet? Everybody's going, how long is it going to go on for? But I thought I might as well try and cram as many sort of methods into it as I possibly can.
This looks interesting.
And this is ever so popular as well. So this is using a 260 balloon as a frame inside a round balloon to create your shape, which will be your flower petal. So let's take that off, put that on, because I need the foil end. Right, fold your 260 in half. Stretch out your latex balloon. Let it down again. And then drop the 260 inside.
So you folded that in half first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got both ends here. So there's the nozzle and there's the tip.
Yep.
Now I'm going to inflate it by a pre-measured amount. So I inflated one at the beginning to decide how big I wanted the petal to be. And it's basically 4 pumps of the hand pump. If you've got a digital machine, then that's fine as well, but I'm just using the hand pump. So 1, 2, oh, hang on, no, forgot a step. And you can see why. What you have to do, get carried away, is inflate the 11-inch, 12-inch balloon again. Inflate the big balloon again. So there's room for the 260 to inflate. Because otherwise you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
So you do need a third hand occasionally. Right, there we go. So 4 pumps of this. 1. Did that work? Not entirely sure it did. I don't know. We'll find out in a minute. Get hold of that end, pull it through. Then the tip, pull it. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, pull it until you feel the inflated part of it come up against your hand. So we've now got a loop of 260 in there. Hang on to both ends and deflate the big one. Just to double check that I have actually got it right. Come on, get your finger in there. There it goes. Oh yeah. So then the big one will settle around the inflated one. I know it's the right size now, so I'm going to tie it off so that I don't lose it.
So you're tying the 260 there?
Tying the 2 ends together so that I'm sealing the 260 there. Okay. And then I can fully deflate that, which gives us the shape we want.
That's great. I love that.
It's fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're very good for the ears.
Yeah, yeah.
For feet. For all sorts of things. But it's a really useful thing. So now I'm going to just tie all these together into a cluster. 2, 2. I could remove the ends of the unwanted ends of the 260s. It might make life a bit easier if I did that, to be honest. But I'll take that one off first. Tie that one into that one. Take these off first. Take those off. Okay. Tie that to that. So now I'm just using them like they were inflated balloons, making a 5 balloon cluster. And then a little cluster of satin pink and metallic rose gold, which will sit in the middle, like so. And then I can add that flower onto my creation somewhere else, which I think will go nicely out there. So once again, the loop method.
Yeah, it's very impressive, Chris.
Right, it will be when I've settled it down, but yeah, it is fun. Again, it's not a new technique. You see lots and lots and lots of instances where it's been used by all sorts of people, but I don't think it's demonstrated that often. So I just thought it might be an opportunity. I'm going to put that there, and we'll attach this here, and then I can tweak it a bit. You can curve it to get them into the right sort of places where you want them. You can faff with them for a long time. I'm not going to faff with it too much at the moment because I just got a couple of other bits and bobs. While I'm here, we need to finish off the ends. There's an empty end there, so I've got two.
Okay.
I didn't put that in at the beginning because I wasn't sure how many I needed.
Yes.
So that fills in that gap. Then I've lost. Oh, it's on the floor. Excuse me. Come back in a minute. There we go. And that goes in the other end. So it's still slightly gappy. There's loads of things that we can do. We can keep adding more balloons. We can do all sorts of things. But I want to use this because this is also part of the same collection that balloon is part of.
Yeah.
And it's basically a honeycomb hanging decoration. But I'm going to remove the hanging part for now. I'll leave that because I might need it to attach. It comes with bits of double-sided tape. It's just sometimes I feel the need for a textural change. I've done the best I can with this and the satin and the metallic and the foil and to get as many textures in as possible, but it's still a bit balloonish.
Yeah, it is.
So it's sometimes nice to have a contrasting, a contrasting texture, which will just offset things nicely. So it's that there. And I'm just going to sit that in there like that with, you guessed it, another bit of 2/6.
Yeah.
Where would we be without these?
I know.
Tell you what, I'd lose track of stuff in my freezer.
Is that what you use it for?
That sounds a bit strange. I use modelling balloons to seal the freezer bags or to tie around the freezer bags.
Good idea.
And each month has its own colour.
Oh, ingenious.
So red's January, blue's February, green's March.
Excellent.
And then I know that bag was put in last January or last February or whatever it happens to be. I know when I put it in the freezer.
We should have another series, Chris, shouldn't we? Chris Horne life hacks. There you go.
Yeah. Yes. Handy hint number 263. Yeah, that's more or less it. I could go on for ages. BMTV is renowned for its, conciseness. A nice short little thing. And I think I've probably exceeded what I need to do in terms of time, but I wanted to get as many in to show you the basic methods.
Yeah.
You can add and add and add and increase the value over and over again. If it's a little bit unstable, just put some weights in underneath to hold it, give it a little bit more thing. And if you really need to make this more, then obviously what you can do is to add a helium-filled bouquet. Look at this, you can't even see it, I did. But I've put this one together with helium-filled standards, 12-inch. Here's a dark pink crystal clears with rose gold and pink confetti in.
Beautiful.
Refer to BMTV XXX. I'm sure there'll be up along the bottom of the screen to tell you which one.
I'm sure we can do that.
That's a petite in the same colour. So just a nice collection of helium-filled balloons that you can add to this. And this is the tassel that I cut off of this.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Which goes really nicely underneath your clears balloon.
Puts
it all together there.
You say, Chris, you've got the different textures. Yeah, you've got the reflex, you've got the honeycomb, you've got the latex balloons, you've got the foil balloons, and it's great. And I think you can definitely have this is our base. This would cost you £40, for instance. But if you want to make it special, we can add this. That would be 60. If you want to make it really special, add this, and that would be 80, or whatever the prices might be.
Yeah,
and it just looks so impressive. Yeah, that's great. Absolutely love it. Another Chris Horne masterpiece, I feel.
Yeah, now I need a big van.
Yeah, I think you're going to need a bigger studio.
When you were saying that, I was thinking you haven't seen what's coming, mate.
Yeah, you might need a bigger van and a bigger studio. I think that's what you need to get next.
You definitely need that. But there you go.
Chris, thank you so much for that. Now, as you know, as a guest on BMTV, you get to ask the BMTV Nation the question of the week. So,
Yeah.
Chris, what is the question of the week?
Okay, well, this is something that has happened to me once or twice. Well, it's not something, yeah. What is the worst birthday present you've ever received?
We're definitely going beyond the world of balloons here. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
What's the worst birthday present you've ever received? Just for Chris Horne's entertainment. Please leave your comments down below on Facebook and on YouTube. Chris, thank you so much once again for joining us and showing us that amazing creation. And thank you for watching out there. Thank you so much for subscribing. If you've not subscribed, please do and hit the bell icon. Thanks. Stay safe, and I will look forward to seeing you again next time. Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.